Gus's world-famous fried chicken. They're literally peddlers of championship-winning fried chicken, but I tried potato salad for the first time in my life, and I've got notes.
Their chocolate chess pie was simple and sweet, as was their unsweetened tea, which defies logic if you think about it.
They prove that beans are indeed the magical fruit, but we're now 2 hours removed from our meal, and I've yet to toot. After determining Chili's to be the perfect measuring stick of mediocrity last month, we're going to put the Chili's test to work to determine if Gus's world-famous fried chicken is objectively good or not good. Will a restaurant that's been featured in GQ in an article titled "A Love Letter to Gus's, the Best Fried Chicken in the World" turn out to be any good? Let's find out together. This is the Fine Dining Podcast.
Your table is ready, take a seat. The flavor of the day is mediocrity. Wouldn't you like to try a bite? Guarantee it'll be the perfect bite. Fine dining, better than you thought, worse than you hoped. Fine dining, we don't treat mediocre as a joke. Ranking every single place we've been, compare it to the perfect 5 out of 10.
Hello, and welcome back to Fine Dining, the quest to compare all restaurants to Chili's. I am your host, Michael Ornelas, and this is the show where I'm using Chili's, the perfectly average 5 out of 10 dining experience, to measure what is good or not good by comparison. So the question at hand today, is Gus's world-famous fried chicken better than Chili's? Straight up, probably, but we're going to break it down for you anyways so that you can hear what it's like to both taste the food at such a highly regarded chain and experience the ambiance and service there as well. Joining me today to discuss Gus's world-famous fried chicken is a very funny improviser, actor, and comedian who I just find to be one of the most delightful humans to be around. You can see him in Upright Citizens Brigade's most prestigious weekly show, Ass Cat, here in Los Angeles, and he also calls his parents often. It's Dave Theune.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here. And you're right, I do call my parents often.
Yeah, I found a casting website that you had written the bio and mentioned that you call your parents often.
I do.
And I was like, you know what? Yeah. I think it says a lot about you.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining me. Thanks for coming to Gus's.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing what was truly a really good meal.
I loved it. I really loved it. As my first time being at this restaurant, it easily matched and exceeded my expectations. I had a great time.
Awesome. Well, we're just going to jump right on into it.
Great.
We're going to talk about everything that was good. Play the jingle.
This is the good, done like it should be. The stuff that's finger licking, a stick in the landing. This is the good, I knew that you could. This is the good.
So I guess we'll just go in the order of what we experienced, with the first being we walk in and just ambiance wise.
Yes.
It feels classic, but it doesn't feel old.
It feels classic. It doesn't feel old. It doesn't feel overdone. And for someone who likes kitschy, someone who likes a thick decor.
I love kitsch.
Me too.
I mean,
yes, absolutely. And this isn't that, but it is. And it's not like an overly warm, cushy place, but it is inviting. It is very comfortable and feels just like very easy, very welcoming.
It's like got like sky blues in there, which is just always a very relaxing color to me. Love a blue. I'm a big blue guy.
Love a blue. Love in this particular location. Lots of windows all the way around, which I do really enjoy.
Gets kind of hot in the summer.
Oh, I bet it does. I bet it does. You're right. I didn't think about that. That probably is the case. What I liked also is I was sitting in a booth. I love a booth. But your chairs on your side, that you were sitting in a chair, those chairs had a cushioned seat and a cushioned back.
It was like leather too.
Yeah.
And I think they were new from the last time I was there. I didn't even think to write down the seating, but it was comfy.
Yes. And I love that they're not just a cheap wooden chair on the other side.
Yeah.
I think that's really great. And I'm going to even back up just a little bit. Their parking lot, nothing special, but ample, plenty of parking, super easy. In Los Angeles, if you know Los Angeles, that is a premium. And this place, easily, even if it was packed, plenty of parking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. This is the type of place where I will always prefer to dine in.
Yep.
There is something about the full experience of the place that I want when I'm eating it. Yeah, I've taken this chicken to go.
Yep.
I've had it right here in my own home, but just it puts you in a mood to stay there.
Yeah, very casual, very comfortable. It doesn't feel like, when I say casual, it doesn't mean like
Underdone.
underdone or dingy or anything like that. It's very, very clean, very open, very airy. And again, just a super comfortable energy in there.
Yeah. Now we got a couple of the starters. We got the same plate for entree with different sides.
Yep.
And then we both got desserts. And I'm going to just hold up my little notebook to camera here. I usually divide it into thirds for the good, the not good, and the just there.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up putting nothing in the not good. So we're probably going to be doing most of our evaluating of this meal in this segment. So the good will probably run longest.
Yep.
I got fried okra. Look, today was a day of firsts.
Yes.
I tried fried okra for the first time.
Same.
I tried potato salad for the first time.
Oh.
You tried dark meat chicken for the first time. We're just a couple of weirdos who haven't tried things that other people are like, wait, really? You went this long without that?
You being from Texas and not having tried potato salad is surprising to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love like mashed potatoes.
Sure.
And it's just like, why are we doing something different?
Why
to
are we
that?
adding to that?
That's kind of what my mindset always was.
Mhm.
And then like mayo or egg-based things, like I like eggs. I love like
Sure.
a good scrambled egg. I like putting eggs and stuff.
Yep.
But it's only been since I've been doing this podcast that I've really ventured into like different preparations of eggs. I just conceptually need
Mhm.
to come around to some things. And I think potato salad was one where when I was doing research on this restaurant,
Mhm.
I out of nowhere just decided, what are all of the things typically in a potato salad?
Yeah.
And I looked, I was like, oh, I would eat all those things
Mhm.
separately. So I guess there's no reason not to try them together.
Yes, but in your defense, when there's French fries on as an option, it is hard to pick anything over French fries.
Yeah.
It just is. They're just, especially the French fries are reasonably good. As a side item, I just don't know what tops it.
Yeah. And so what I will say about the potato salad, I did try it for the first time,
Mhm.
but this is about the fried okra. The potato salad for me does not go in the good.
Fine.
Doesn't go in the not good, but it doesn't go in the good.
Understandable.
So the okra.
Yep.
I think I liked this so much because the actual vegetable of it was so not prominent.
So minimal. Yes.
It just tasted like I was eating fried batter.
Yes. Yes. And the
And I love
benefit,
fried batter.
I love fried batter. And the benefit of knowing like it's fried batter, not good for me. But we got a little vegetable in there, right?
Right? It's like you're able to
Yes.
trick yourself just
For
a
sure.
little bit
Yes.
with that okra. But that said, it was my first time trying okra
Mhm.
at all, let alone fried okra. And the texture I thought was delightful.
Yep.
And it almost tasted like a less strong Brussels sprout. And
Yes.
I love me some Brussels sprouts.
Great.
But yeah, this kind of tasted like, hey, we're going to give you a hint of that.
Yep.
But it's not going to overwhelm, and then we're going to deep fry it. And I thought it was a winning combo. I liked their fried okra
Yes.
quite a bit. I went 7 out of 10.
Great. I would match you on that with a 7 out of 10. I've had okra before. I'd never had fried okra before. And I would say that I was pleasantly surprised when you were like, should we get the fried okra? In my mind, I was a little bit like, whoa, okay. But then we got it and I was like, oh yeah. And I ate a bunch of it and I was like, this is great. And like you said, it's just the right size. They're kind of small. And obviously deep fried, which is great. And they had a ranch sauce, which I enjoyed. And I was thoroughly impressed with them, even though a lot of deep fried stuff. I mean, I like deep fried stuff, but like deep fried poppers, deep fried pickles, deep fried okra, deep fried, any of that stuff as an appetizer is not something I'm normally going for.
Mhm.
But I would easily eat this again, 7 out of 10 for sure.
And I will say I'm also not typically a ranch guy. Their ranch was both good and I kept coming back to it.
And they gave us each our own little cup, and that was so great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although I think they did that because we got 2 different fried appetizers, not because there were 2 of us.
You're right. That's probably true now that you say that.
But he was very strategic when he set it down to be like, that's for you, that's for you. And
Yes.
it's like, okay, you're looking out for us, but I see
Yes.
what's behind it.
It didn't even dawn on me, but you're right.
A lot of dad music here, but I wasn't hating it.
No, very easy energy, very easy vibe to the music, very like ranging from 50s into 70s. When we first got in there, they were playing some 50s or early 60s music. And I was like, all right, is that what this is? Okay. And then some of the stuff on the wall would indicate that. But then they started playing like some 70s rock, you know.
We had Hotel
stuff.
California, and I was like, ooh, I need to put boat shoes on.
Yes. And so at that point, I was like, oh, okay, this is a little bit different. I'm not exactly sure what this is. But again, an easygoing vibe, at least being a middle-aged white dude eating here. So for me, it was like very easy.
Like, they didn't play any Steely Dan, yet kind of everything they played was Steely Dan.
Yes.
That's kind of the vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to know when they're doing that, I know because it is a chain, like, are they beholden to some corporate decision of like, this is the type of music you're going to play, or is it up to the individual and that's just like what their preferences are?
I would say, I imagine, and I'm saying this off of speculation.
Sure.
If you're franchised, you're probably not locked in to any specific thing.
Okay.
There's probably like decency things where it's like,
Yes.
you can't be playing profane things. But even then, I've seen in some Yelp reviews, like the guy in the kitchen was listening to something different than what was playing through the speakers, and it was profane. And I didn't have kids here, but if I did, I would have been upset.
Yes.
That said, I'm not that bothered by it. And I was like, you just wrote a whole paragraph about it, buddy.
Yeah, someone's bothered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prude says what, you know? But it put me in a relaxed space.
100%. Yeah, I was very at ease the whole time we were there. And it matched for me, you know, for both of us, a nice, cool Wednesday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it.
What's a thing you would throw into the good?
I'm going to throw into the good. If we're going to stay just on the appetizers even, for me, I don't think I've ever ordered fried pickles before.
Okay.
And I like a dill pickle. And so I was looking forward to these because I'm like, I know I like deep fried stuff and I like pickles, but I've never gotten this before.
Did you feel like I was crazy when I was like, hey, we're not going to just get one deep fried appetizer. We're going for two.
No, you were right to do it. And I absolutely understand it. But I'm also like, there's just two of us eating, right? Like, this is going to be a lot of stuff. But I also understand like the nature of what we're doing. But I was also excited to try them. And the deep fried pickle is different than the okra. Obviously, it's a different thing. But like, because it's just a long, wet vegetable.
Yeah.
So the deep fried doesn't stay on it in the same way.
No, and I ran into a dangerous incident.
You did. Yes, you did. They are subjected to a similar possible problem that the onion ring is subjected to. Again, a wet kind of vegetable. But that being said, I cut mine in half, dipped it in that ranch, and I had like 3 of those things.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really tasty. And I'm reminded why I like pickles so much. And it was a good combo for me. And I was able to keep it together, the fried and the pickle together. So for me, again, a 7, me closing in on an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
Yeah.
For me, that's in a different category as well.
Okay.
But that said, I've now talked about both of the things that were in the other category. Everything else we could talk about, I think we agree upon in the good.
Yes.
Our service guy was awesome.
He was awesome.
He did like the appropriate amount of eavesdropping.
Yes, he did.
Like he had little pointed comments to join in on our conversations.
Yep.
And I didn't mind it at all.
And he was always like, I don't mean to interrupt. Don't mean to interrupt. Right. He was always like very conscious
Tactful.
of that. And I'm guessing part of that's his nature of who he is. I'm guessing maybe he has sense because you and I are both taking pictures. You were taking some more. You're writing stuff down. So like, is there an element of like, this guy's going to review this thing?
Yeah.
Which maybe you run into at other restaurants that you've gone to. But so maybe there's an element of like, I'm turning it on a little bit, but I also don't think he's turning it on that much. I think that's just his nature. And he's very easygoing and very nice and super attentive. And also it was not busy in there at all.
Right. He could afford to sit there for 2 minutes and like chat about movies and TV shows with us, which he did.
And it's a Wednesday afternoon, so I get that it's not going to be super busy. But he was great.
Yeah.
He was great. Yeah. And from someone who just went to a restaurant who got their iced tea and water filled up at the beginning and never got it filled up again until I got my check. This was a breath of fresh air at the amount of times he was checking on my beverage. Because I am someone.
You mean a different restaurant you went to?
A different restaurant.
Oh, gotcha.
I am someone who needs to take a drink after like every bite.
When I go to, like, if I go to Buffalo Wild Wings, I like their mango habanero wings, which are really hot. And I know water doesn't like actually help with heat, but I still like the hydration when I have heat because I don't necessarily want the heat to go. I like the spice.
I like it.
And when I go to Buffalo Wild Wings, especially the one in Burbank, I'm so used to kind of being forgotten about by the servers that up front, I'll be like, I know this is going to sound crazy. Can I order 4 waters for myself?
Yes.
Because one, I'll drink one all the way through before the thing even gets here. And then as I'm eating the really hot wings, I will go through them and I know that they're not going to be refilling them. And I don't want to be flagging someone down while my mouth is burning a little.
Yes. And that is why I didn't do this at the last restaurant that I was just complaining about. But normally I will bring in a water bottle of my own just in case they forget about me.
No, this guy was good. I actually thought it bordered on pushiness to the TDU. He's like, do you want more tea? And you're like, I'm good. And he offered like 4 more times I'm good.
Yeah.
Which it tickled me.
It tickled me too. And it wasn't a lot. But I did like when he was like chiming in with like, we were talking about TV shows and he chimed in with his opinions about them. And then we talked a little bit of Star Wars stuff. And I loved that as well, even though I'm not as familiar, but like you two had like a little bond over like.
I feel like you're being careful to not out me for the opinion because me and the waiter share a very controversial Star Wars opinion. And we were like, oh my gosh, are we in a safe space where like we can express this opinion and not have people jump down our throat? And even you were like, wow.
And I don't pretend to know anything about Star Wars. I just know. And I love how we're dancing around what your opinion is now.
I'm never going to say.
Okay, no. I won't say it either. But I was like, I've heard about this, the people who have these opinions.
If you join my Discord, I'll tell you what the thing was. I'll say it there.
Yes, right. Okay. I was teaching an improv class several years ago now, and I had a student who was in my age range, which at the time was, I think I was in my 40s at that point, but he was like around my age range, and he said that his favorite Star Wars were the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith. He's like, those are my favorite. And again, I'm not a Star Wars head or anything like that, but I was like, what? You're my age.
That is weird just given the age. Someone like, because for me, Phantom Menace came out when I was like 12 or 11. It would make sense. It's not my favorite, but it would make sense.
It would make sense to me too. But he had a similar reasoning that does make sense, which is I saw these first. I never saw the original 3.
Oh, sure.
I was like, oh, okay, that does explain it. You didn't see the original 3? And I don't care if someone hasn't seen a 40-year-old movie. Like, fine, you haven't seen a million. I've never seen Titanic. So I understand that. But also, I was surprised at that. But also,
at this point, are you avoiding Titanic or you just not gotten to it?
I don't have a reason to see it. Like I know what happens.
Yeah.
We've all talked about it. Everyone's talked about it a million times. They sail around the world. It's amazing.
That would actually be so funny if they didn't announce that it was like an alternate take where the Titanic just arrived safely. Everyone's
thankful. There's no reason. I didn't see it at the time because I was a little bit out of I was like in college. I think that came out in like 95, 96, something like that. And I was 97. And I'm in college at that point. And that's just not in my wheelhouse, that type of movie. And then because I know what happens, it's like not a fun ending. So, and I don't love movies that are just like a sad ending. So I just have never had a big reason to see it. But if I was forced to watch it, I could easily watch it.
I don't know about easily. It's 3 hours.
It's a long one.
You know?
Yeah.
I am so just over can we bring back the 100-minute movie?
Oh, yes. I have a friend, my friend Casey Faye is like 90 minutes. And anything over that, he's like, I don't get it. I don't understand why this could be a classic, but it's not because it's too long.
It doesn't need to be that long. It never does. Well,
never does.
Or just make a sequel. I'm okay with a sequel.
Yes.
I don't want to go to a movie theater. The Brutalist, you have an intermission in your movie?
Wild. I get that's a throwback to like old times or something. I'll just say one extra thing here, and this is no longer a thing in California, but this is one of the reasons why I love places like Los Angeles, is that at one point in Los Angeles on Western Avenue, there was a Titanic, the movie themed restaurant on Western in Koreatown that was called Jack's.
Ooh.
This was made not right when the movie came out. This was like a decade after the movie had already come out. And the restaurant looked like a ship. And inside, when I say Titanic, the movie themed, like they had movie stills inside on the walls. Like that was kind of the thing. It wasn't like heavy beyond that. And the fact that it looked kind of like a ship. But they were like selling like boba tea and
weird.
Yeah, like it was like
nothing that's like specific to the time or anything.
No, it was like Korean inspired food. And but it was like their homage. The guy who opened it really loved the movie, got a loan.
All the tables should have been doors that clearly have room for two people, but only one can be on it.
Yes.
And then you have to hold the hand of the person you're with hanging off the side.
Yes.
Anyways, this is what we talked about with our waiter.
Yes, it is.
All of this. We talked movies, Star Wars, TV shows, stuff we liked.
Yeah.
And just the notion that like, hey, we're just cool kind of being along for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything needs to be critiqued to hell.
Right.
We all seem to share that viewpoint.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, he was great. 2 thumbs up for the service, I would say. 2 thumbs up for the atmosphere, I would say.
Absolutely.
2 thumbs up for the food, I would say.
Yep.
Overall. And so now let's get to the stuff that I think is like really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go from worst of the really good to best of the really good.
Yep.
The beans, little bit of a kick, little bit of sweetness, but they are a consistent banger. When you go to Gus's, I'm getting beans every time. 7 out of 10.
Yes. Beans to me with fried chicken, like that feels like they go together. It's a staple. They were so good. And I wouldn't say they were like anything like, this is crazy. I never had anything like it. They were just like so solid and like so satisfying. And I, who got potato salad with mine, mixed them with my potato salad, and I loved the combo, and they were great.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, their beans hit always. I got fries as my other side, and I dip the fries into like the bean goo and occasionally get some bean on the fry. And everything about the plate combinations you can get here mixes well with the other things.
They all make sense.
Yeah.
They all make sense.
The fries, they have a seasoned fry. It's a very subtle seasoning.
Very.
It's not a lot, but it is enough for this to stand out. And then they have found kind of like the perfect balance of how much to fry it versus like how potato-y is it.
Yep.
It's just the right balance. And I couldn't put it into words or like into numbers what that ratio is.
No.
But they've hit it.
They've hit it, and it works well with fried chicken. It was really good. I only had one of your fries. I was jealous. I could have easily gotten a side of fries. That was really, really good. On that note, I'm going to kind of move into one thing, which is just the overall menu. We talked a little bit about this at the restaurant.
Yeah.
That really hit for me was it's limited menu. They just make the stuff that they know how to make and that they're good at. And I'm not left with having to make, a choice out of a million different options.
Right.
It's a limited amount.
I don't need a Cheesecake Factory menu. I never want a Cheesecake Factory menu.
I never want it. And really, I think pretty much almost everything on this menu, if we'd have gotten it, I've been like, great, I'm fine with this. This works.
Yeah.
Super, super good.
Yeah. I went 8 out of 10 on the fries. Did you have a score for, I know you just had one. But
easily 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
The pecan pie with the vanilla ice cream, very solid.
Mm-hmm.
The crust kind of brought it down a little bit for me.
Yep.
It was just a little dry.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual like pecan, I don't even know what the right word is, like the jelly type inside of the pecan pie. The pecans were nice and crisp, while the inside was a warm, delicious, gooey center.
Yes.
If it wasn't for that crust, this would be up there. Wouldn't be in the conversation for best pecan pie I've had. That belongs to the Salt Lick in Austin, Texas, barbecue place. Amazing pecan pie. First place I ever had it, and I've never had anything that matched it since. But for this, 7.5 out of 10. Very respectable for a dessert, but that crust, I think, needs some work.
I'm going to talk about my pie just for a second.
Yeah,
which
the
is
chocolate chess.
Chocolate chess. I've never had a chess pie, never had chocolate chess pie. You could get it with just the pie. You could get it with ice cream on top, or you get it ice cream on the side.
And you could get it heated or not heated.
We got ours heated. We got ours both a la mode. You got yours on the pie. I got mine on the side. But they gave me my ice cream in a little cup, little paper cup on the side, which I've never seen before, and I absolutely loved it. And my pie,
like you've never seen ice cream in a paper cup?
Never was served when I get with
like
pie.
With pie? Gotcha.
It would just be on the plate next to it. But this was like an individual little cup next to it. I could just scoop it out as I wish.
I thought like cups were new to you, and I'm like, Dave, you gotta get out more.
I'm a bowl guy. I'm a bowl man. But this pie, I will say, this is maybe like almost a double score. The pie was an 8. The pie was great. It wasn't overly sweet. It wasn't huge. It wasn't overly decadent. after having fried pickles, fried okra, fried chicken, to me, this was like the perfect level of not too sweet, not too big, just the right amount. It's not like the best pie I've ever had. Like you said, the crust isn't ideal, but like it's a solid 8. But because it's a solid 8, in the overall scheme of things, it's more like a 10 for me in the experience because it's exactly what I needed at that point in the meal.
Yeah.
Maybe if I was getting pie on my own and like that's all I was getting and no other food, it would rank maybe a little lower, wouldn't be as satisfying to me. But because of everything we had before it, this felt like the perfect amount afterward.
It was an exclamation point at the end of a sentence.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and chess pie, for people who may not know, is a vanilla custard pie, and then the chocolate is like intermixed with that, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was great.
So they have chess pie and chocolate chess pie.
Yes.
Both of which being the ones that they are known for. And then by the time I was going to be like, oh, let me grab a scoop, Dave had housed it in.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay, okay.
I didn't say anything. It's fine. But I was just like, must have been great. I've had it before.
Yeah, you've had it before.
I've had it before.
Yes,
so it's not like
yes.
you like denied me an experience that I'll never have.
I've also got a sweet tooth. I'll say that right off the bat. I definitely got a sweet tooth.
Mine's insatiable. I get it. Cool. And then, now let's get to like the star of the show.
Yep.
Championship chicken.
Yep.
They have one style of chicken. It is fried chicken. You can get it dark. You can get it white meat. You can get tenders. And I think that I saw on the bar, they had a topper for a sandwich, which is new for them.
Oh, interesting.
Which is like a throwback to what they used to be.
Oh.
And I usually go the dark. I've had their tenders before. I've had their white meat before. None of it has ever served me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So for the dark, you get 2 thighs and a leg, which is substantial. If you're going to go 2 and 1, a lot of places might choose 2 legs because they're smaller and a thigh.
Yep.
But nope, they go 2 thighs, 1 leg. And the leg, juicy. Very juicy. Just the right, like the perfect level of spice.
Mm-hmm.
I think for someone who doesn't handle spice well, this is still manageable, but maybe pushing a limit. And for people who really like spice, this is going to give them that without being too underwhelming.
Yes.
So
agreed.
I think it's in that perfect spot on the spectrum of an accessible spice.
Yes. I didn't know there was going to be any spice on the chicken. So that was a surprise to me, a pleasant surprise. And I loved it. Like I like spicy, but I overestimate how much I like spicy and then it gets too hot for me. But this was like a nice kick, a surprise kick, and I really liked it. And it really made the chicken for me because this one, again, I would rate it top tier. But historically, I'm a white meat guy.
Yeah.
I'm Midwest through and through. Not to paint everyone from the Midwest with this brush, but a lot of us like white meat. It's a plainer option, and I would classify myself as when it comes to chicken, a bit of a dry guy. I don't mind if it's dry. That doesn't bother me. And part of that also comes from like when I was making chicken breasts on my Foreman grill, in college and beyond. I was so afraid of like food poisoning or undercooking
that you'd overcook it.
I'd overcook it and I just eat it super dry. So I'm probably used to that.
At least I'm safe.
At least I'm safe. That's right. And so this was a new venture for me because I also got the dark meat.
Mm-hmm.
And so by no fault of its own, if I went again, I would probably get the white meat because that's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But as a person who never gets dark meat, I really enjoyed it and I see why people like it and I get it. And I would still get white meat next time, but I'm glad I did it. And that spicy batter really goes a long way.
It's so good.
It's so good. And I ate as much of that chicken as I could. It was great.
And you don't need sauce.
No sauce. None.
They have a hot sauce on the table.
Yep.
I think it's Frank's.
Mm-hmm.
They have a ketchup on the table.
Mm-hmm.
That's for fries. You know, you don't need anything.
Nothing.
The chicken is so juicy on its own. You don't need to add anything for moisture. And the skin is so crispy that I think adding a moisture element to the outside does it a disservice.
Yep.
Because that bite is so enjoyable. And I thought that the leg was very good. I went 8.5 out of 10. The thigh, I thought was approaching perfection. I went 9.5 out of 10 on the thighs.
Yes. I would go 9 for both of those. And again, only because I'm a white meat guy and I've come to realize that more and more, would I not go full 10. But that is no fault of the restaurant itself. That is my own personal taste.
Yeah.
I really loved it. And I'm going to ask you a follow-up question that's unrelated to this most of the way, but I bring it up only because within the last 2 weeks, have I come to this realization about myself. Are you someone who likes, you like going get wings, like you said, from Buffalo Wild Wings or Wells, right?
Yeah.
Flats or wings?
I think flats, because the drums, there's always like that one little weird tendon that pops out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't enjoy that one little nubby thing. And it's on every single one of them.
Yep.
Flats, you can eat a higher percentage of the volume of the meat.
Yes. I only in the last 2 weeks have realized that I like flats more than drums for the same reason that you're talking about right now. But only within 2 weeks have I discovered, and I'm 48 years old, that I'm like, oh, I'm a flats guy. Got it.
I will say this, mechanically, a drum is easier to eat.
Yeah.
And if it's super messy, I don't like getting my fingers super dirty. I like that practical element of the drums.
Yes. Should we be eating with gloves when we eat wings?
You know, I am not opposed to doing something weird like that if it is just for quality of life and comfort.
Yeah.
I don't care if people are like, look at those guys. You're like, don't mind us. Yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, that's pretty much the bathroom.
Oh, my goodness.
You made it sound like you went into a secure paradise.
I went into the bathroom and right away I could see that I was going to love this place, because right outside that door, before you walk in, you look down and they've got those locks that on the outside will say vacant in green or occupied in red, and both of them were green. I didn't have to worry about if anyone was in there. I didn't have to knock on the door. I didn't have to be worried about I'm going to open it up on someone. That is the best. Every single restaurant should have that lock on their door.
It's the little things.
Yes.
It really is. And you put words to a feeling that I never knew I felt so strongly. Like, I'm in full agreement. It's to the point where, like, the worst bathrooms on the planet are in airplanes. We know this.
Yes.
Actually, Greyhound buses. But but airplanes do have that.
Yes.
And it makes me, it like adds 4 points to an airplane bathroom to where I'm like, look, I'm going in a tight space. I hate it. I have to cover my ears when I flush because of that like crazy suction noise, to the point where I will always like keep my Bluetooth headphones on when I get up from my seat to go to the restroom, just to like do some noise cancellation on that flush.
Yes.
But I always know when I lock this thing, the lights turn on as a result.
Yes.
It's letting everyone know.
Yes.
And then even better, there's an overhead like X over the bathroom door for everyone to see, hey, Michael's here.
Yes.
You know?
It's so simple. And the people who own these restaurants or these planes or whatever, they all experience these bathrooms. They all know that what we all like, they all like it too. And most
of them are skimping.
Most of them are skimping. But you go into this bathroom at Gus's, and first off, you got the little twist thing on the doorknob itself, which is always a little bit, you're like, is this going to work or not going to work? And you do that thing, you're like, all right, well, okay. But then you have the lock that you know is going to flip to occupied, and that feels secure.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I'm in, I'm good. But beyond that, above that, they had one of those like little latches that you can slide to the left or slide to the right or whatever. And I'm like,
the like bolt.
Yes, the little bolt. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure that one was working that well, but I was like, this is a third lock. This is purely excess.
It's aesthetic.
Yes.
And then they had the chain like a hotel room.
Yes.
And then they had like a thumbprint.
And then they had this bar that you could put down over the door, like a medieval times.
And they have to like ram it with a log to open it.
Yes.
Yeah. No one's great. Walking in on you.
No one's walking in. This bathroom was spacious. It was clean. It was great. I loved it.
Everyone, do your bathrooms like Gus's.
Yes.
Anyways, that's it for the good. That's all the good elements of Gus's world famous fried chicken. Now we got to jump into the not good.
This is not so good. I'm not quite sure about it. Could have done without it. The stuff that brings down the mood. This is just not very good.
I already mentioned nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing here.
I mentioned mine, which is that at the most, it was a mistake on my part that I got dark instead of white, but also it wasn't a mistake because I wanted to get dark. I wanted to try dark, and the dark was very good.
Yeah.
I loved it. There was not an element of this, and that includes that unsweetened tea, which was honestly very good. And I love an unsweetened tea. They give you the option for sweetened, which gives us some of that southern flavor.
Yeah.
But they also have an unsweetened, and that unsweetened tea, I could drink it all day.
Even though we're in the not good, we have time to fill.
Yes.
What score would you give the unsweet tea, even if it is in the good?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 for their unsweet tea?
Absolutely.
All right. This is the first time in history that a 10 out of 10 has been given out in the not good segment. Let's move on to the next segment, the just there.
Mm-hmm.
This is a weird one. I'm not quite sure what to say about it. Yeah. This is for the stuff that is just there.
I only had 2 things here.
Yep.
Did you have anything in just there that you
No.
thought was just mediocre?
It was all good. Nope, I had nothing in the just there department. Everything was at a minimum good.
So for me, potato salad. And again, this is my first time having it. There are a few foods like pickles are one of them where it's like, I kind of had to warm up on them. I tried it for the first time. I'm like, okay, I can do this.
Mhm.
I can be a brave boy, you know? And then I find like, okay, now who has the best pickles or who has this or that?
Yes.
So I'll find my way with potato salad.
Great.
For an entry point, I tried it, I started it, and I was like, this tastes like mashed potatoes, but colder and wetter.
Mm-hmm.
That said, the other tastes that were a little bit different, the egginess of it, and was there like some like pickled element? I don't know. I feel like I was getting
There's like either some relish in there or some celery or something.
That's what it was.
Okay.
It was new.
Yep.
And I'm not comfortable with it yet,
Understandable.
but it was fine.
Yes.
I went 5.5 out of 10. I will have it more.
Yep.
Is it always served cold?
It's always served cold. Yes, which I, as a kid, never would have eaten that because that cold element would have thrown me off. All the stuff would have thrown me off. I didn't like mayo as a kid. Now I like it, especially when it's something like fried chicken where it feels like this is like a backyard barbecue almost feeling to it, right? And then it feels potato salad, in my opinion, feels like it goes with this. It feels right now. So then I like to do that and kind of dive into that element. I may have thrown coleslaw into the mix of this because I just don't generally like coleslaw all that much. But since we didn't get it, I don't have an opinion on it. But that's not my favorite.
Coleslaw has kind of been this weird thing where like I started having it because of the podcast and I never want to order it. But every time I have it, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good.
Oh, that's nice.
But I never want it.
No.
Like it's just, it's not a sexy option. It doesn't stand out and be like, pick me. You're going to want me. I'm enticing.
No.
It's kind of like I'm too lazy to modify.
Yeah. And
that's
I'll tell you
when
what,
you get it.
Absolutely. And that name is not doing it any favors.
Coleslaw. Sounds like the nerdiest kid at school.
yes, it does.
Yeah. And then the other thing I had in the just there is the fried pickles. I prefer like the little coin-shaped sliced pickles, especially as a fried pickle, because I think the ratio of batter to pickle is a little bit more to my preference. This was a lot of pickle. This was a big, quarter of a spear, basically.
Yep.
And long, battered. And I bit into the first one. It was scalding, and I had that onion ring effect where because it's a moist thing battered, the batter doesn't stick to it. So the batter slid off, and I just have this piping hot bit of pickle dangling out of my mouth. We are 2 minutes into actually dining together. I'm self-conscious. I left my notebook at home and had to run back to get it because you were gracious enough to be like, it's okay because I live so close. And by the way, I did the full drive in 5 minutes.
It was so fast. It was so fast.
And so I'm like so self-conscious of like, oh God. And then I reach for it and my hand's getting burnt. My mouth is getting burnt. I can't, like if I just bite down to sever it, it'll drop into my lap or like I have to like put my head over. There was no graceful way out of it. And it made a fool out of me. And I don't appreciate that.
I didn't want to tell you, but the 2 other people in the restaurant could not stop staring at you. They were wondering what was going on. They were doing imitations of you behind your back. Yep.
They're very broad impressions too.
very.
I went 4.5 out of 10. Still not like terrible, No. It's still in the realm of average.
Yep.
Little below average for my tastes, but I do like a fried pickle. There are some places that I think do a really good fried pickle. Yep. And if I liked the pickly taste more, Gus's might be more up there for me. But as a matter of personal preference, not the case.
Understandable. Their outside, I'll say, not. This isn't mediocre. This falls in a good category. Their outside neon, I like, and that like yellow, green, red color scheme is what I think they kind of go with.
Stoplights.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. When a restaurant, like a fried chicken, which I think consider a comfort food.
Yeah.
Pizza, also kind of a comfort food. When their outside colors are not including some sort of warm colors like a yellow or a red, I'm like, what are you doing? What are these cool colors going on here? So like, I feel like, you notice like Arby's, McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza Hut, they're all like warm colors. And I find that there's probably some science, I'm sure there is behind it, of like people associate that with like warm food or tasty food or something.
Okay, well, that's all for what's just there. We need to take all of these components of Gus's world-famous fried chicken and put them together into a score so that we can average them together and put them up on the tchotchke of mediocrity. But before we do that, Dave, this is your first time on the Fine Dining podcast.
Yes.
You haven't been to the 100 restaurants or more that I've been to. We just have different levels of calibratedness. Calibration. I know words.
It's getting late in the podcast.
Losing it. We know that Chili's is our true north. It is the perfect 5 out of 10.
Yes.
But that still doesn't mean we know how far your scale spreads in either direction. So we got to find the bottom. We got to find the top.
Got it.
So we're going to head into this week's calibration station.
Calibration station. Comparing this meal to the best of the worst. Calibration station. Chugga, 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 choo, choo.
Okay, Dave. The best restaurant experience you've ever had, something you would call a 10 out of 10, or the worst restaurant experience you've ever had, something that you'd call a 0 out of 10. We're going to go into both of them, but start with whichever one you want.
I'm going to start with the worst one. And this one is, I'm not even blaming the restaurant here, but this is just the experience that I had. This is a childhood experience that has unfortunately haunted me ever since. And I'll tell you why. In just a moment. The restaurant at the time was located in the Sheboygan Memorial Mall in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And my mom, my older sister Suzanne, and I went to the mall, and they have a little food court. They had a little food court. And when I say little, I mean there was a Sbarro's, there was an original cookie, and there was a hot dogs and more. And I've
never heard of hot dogs and more. I was expecting hot dog on a stick, which tells you everything it is. This one leaves some things vague.
Yes. On the other side of the mall, there was a Diamond Dave's Taco Company, and there was also a little dining area in the Walgreens. But we're talking where the food court was. This is a weird place.
There was a dining area in the Walgreens?
I believe so. You know what? Now that I say that out loud, maybe I'm wrong on that. I'd have to ask my sisters.
Okay.
But we went to the hot dogs and more, and I've never seen hot dogs and more anywhere else in my life. This is the only one. And I wish I could go back in time and go to these places again. But I went to Sbarro's and got pizza. And I forget how, I was pretty young, elementary school. And my mom and sister went to hot dogs and more. And so I went and got my food, and I probably wolfed it down too fast. And I went into hot dogs and more, and they're sitting, I'm watching them eat, whatever. And I'm getting nauseous. And at some point in the hot dogs and more, and this is a gross story or warning, I throw up, only I throw up in my hands. Like I hold my hands to my mouth and I throw up, and the vomit is like leaking through my hands
as it would.
And my mom was like, "Get to the bathroom."
You do not have webbed fingers.
I do not have webbed fingers, and I'm sick. And my mom's like, "Get to the bathroom, get to the bathroom." And my sister Suzanne, who is not dissimilar from me, is relishing in this moment of her younger brother at a low. And I would say once a year since that time, that gets brought up. Loves to bring it up in front of my family, in front of our family, that moment happened to me at Hot Dogs and More after I'd eaten at Sbarro's. I don't even know if it was a Sbarro's. I think it was. But she loves to point out the time where I had no control over getting sick and throwing up in my hands. And that is my low that I can recall, but mainly because of Suzanne.
I love that your 0 can't even be pinned down to whether to blame Sbarro or Hot Dogs and More.
Right.
One of those two is the
One
zero.
of those two is
It's
the
a gray
culprit.
area.
And they both sound like they could be the culprit based on what we know of
It was
them.
a tag team
Yeah,
effort.
for sure it was. For sure it was. Now we're going to fast forward to my best.
Yeah.
And that happened this past weekend.
Oh, really?
Yes, that happened this past weekend.
Let me ask you, do you think it has recency bias or do you genuinely think it's the best you've ever had?
It definitely has recency bias, but kind of touching on the restaurants that I wanted to make up and create.
Yeah.
Which is fresh, modern food.
Oh, sure.
And a little diner next door that had pie.
Yeah.
So recently, for the first time, my girlfriend and I went to a restaurant out here in Los Angeles in a neighborhood called Eagle Rock called Little Beast.
Yeah.
And if you've never heard of it, I'd never been. And she'd never been. It's a house converted into a restaurant.
Okay.
So we went and it was cozy. We sat outside in the on their like front porch area that they converted into like tables and stuff like that. Their backyard also had tables and the interior had a small bar and a few more tables.
Mm-hmm.
I liked not only the food that we got there, but I liked the way that we ate it. Here's what we did, which we don't always normally do, and I don't normally do, but Kimberly, my girlfriend, gave a great suggestion, which is not a unique suggestion. It's just one that we don't always heed. Sometimes we'll order too much, or we'll each order a main.
Yeah.
This time, because we'd I like this. I think this looks good. I think this looks good. And it's well, why don't we just get a couple more things, but will get one main.
Yeah.
And we'll split that. So we ended up getting a couple appetizers, a salad, the main, and it worked out perfect. Just splitting all of those things amongst the two of us. So we got, to start with, we got this house bread and spread, which is obviously just bread and butter, but the bread was super fresh and good, and it came with a garlic chili butter with sea salt, and it was so good.
Let me just tell you, a little bit of sea salt in a table bread, it is a game changer because the texture adds something that the taste is there. We know that salt is good.
Yes.
But that texture really elevates a table bread. I think table breads are such an overlooked element of the restaurant experience.
Yes.
A place with a great table bread, immediately I'm I'm coming back here.
Especially when they're done right. It was so good and wasn't too much. It wasn't too little. It was a nice little amount. And I was oh man, I'm glad we got this bread. Usually sometimes could be just a filler, and this felt super satisfying.
And garlic chili sounds good too.
Ooh, it was so good. And then we got something that she wanted to get. And I like this stuff as well. But I was we already got the bread and butter. But she's let's get the ancho chili black bean hummus, which is garbanzo beans, ancho chili, I don't know what that is, cilantro, cumin, jalapeno black bean relish, served with tahini pita chips. It was a highlight. Those tahini pita chips were great, and the hummus was so good, and it was such a flavorful hummus. It was awesome, and we loved it, ate it all up immediately. And I'm liking the sharing element to it. I've also got one blonde beer, which is almost all I can handle at this point in my age. I'm this is good. I'm having one beer. I don't need more than this. It's delicious. It's flavorful. Then we got a wild arugula Caesar. Are you an arugula fan?
Sure.
I am too. The pepperiness of the arugula is so good. Fennel, apple, shaved Brussels sprouts, breadcrumbs, goat cheese, Caesar dressing. That may be where we lose you.
Take the cheese out, though. Everything else there, I'm I would get that.
It was great.
Put a different dressing on there or something for me that doesn't have Parmesan in it.
Yes, it was light enough. It was so good. It was really good. And I'm all right, we're eating a good chunk of food, but it's all still feeling relatively light.
Yeah.
And then we got our entree. And she suggested, hey, let's get the mushroom and lentils, which are marsala, creamy polenta, balsamic reduction, and these mushrooms that were cooked so well and were so tasty. And because it was a vegetable dish, or maybe even a vegan dish, was so light and good. And it was the perfect amount of food, even though, and we also got some fries with it. We also got French fries, which were also great. The French fries came with two dips. One, classic ketchup.
Yeah.
Not a house-made ketchup, a classic Heinz ketchup, which I think is the best.
Interesting.
And then they also included an aioli. So they gave us two, one kind of fun and one very basic. It was awesome. It was an awesome meal, shared everything.
Yeah.
genuinely good. Again, kind of like modern cuisine, very accessible. Everything was busy. People were having a good time.
Did you go next door and go
and
to a
then
diner
we
after?
walked to Cindy's restaurant
Okay.
immediately next door. Very 50s style diner, very bright, very cheery. And we got ourselves, first time I've ever had this, a chocolate pecan pie, which they had a specific name for.
Love it.
But it was so good and easy. We split that with a scoop of ice cream and then went home. And it was
Fairly
great.
affordable?
The restaurant is a little on the pricey side.
Okay.
Admittedly. Cindy's more accessible.
Gotcha.
But the restaurant was absolutely worth it. And if you're in Los Angeles, Little Beast is worth going to at least once. It was just really, really nice. And we looked at everyone else's food too as we were trying to decide. And everyone's food looked delicious.
Awesome. Well, somewhere between Hot Dogs and More / Sbarro and Little Beast / Cindy's, both hybrid options for very different reasons,
Yes.
lies Gus's world famous fried chicken with Chili's right in the middle. It is time to put Gus's world famous fried chicken to the Chili's test.
Yes.
It's time to set the scale. Will it pass or will it fail? Is it the worst? Is it the best? Let's put it through the Chili's test.
Okay, Dave.
Yes.
You're calibrated.
Yes.
We know where our 0, our 5, and our 10 stand. Your guideposts to rate Gus's world famous fried chicken. Would you like to go first or would you like me to go first?
I'm going to go first. We're going to save you best for last.
Best for last.
That's right. That's right. The veteran, the head honcho. We put more stake in what you think. So I'm going to rate this restaurant. And we talked a little bit about this earlier.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm going to say now, after having our conversation, I may have aired a little high, but I'm sticking with it. I had a really wonderful time today. And in no short part, due to the conversation and company, it was great. Honestly, we had like a nice conversation. It was very fun, very easy. And again, an unexpected kind of Wednesday afternoon meal at a place I'd never been to and really enjoyed. I would go here. I would recommend this to anybody if they're looking for a good fried chicken joint. I'm giving Gus's world famous fried chicken 9.28.
9.28. I am a bit lower than you, but kind of with the same level of affinity and affection for the place.
Sure.
When I think of like the verbiage I use to categorize different categories of restaurant, if I'm saying a 6 to 7.5 is good, 7.5 to 8.5 is great, to me, Gus's world famous fried chicken is a great restaurant experience. And in a world where the food is the most important thing, this is definitely scoring higher for me. I do like the ambiance here.
Sure.
I do like the service here, but it is still like a tier below some of those like really top, Michelin restaurants, which, look, one of my highest scoring places is literally Dan's Hamburgers, which is like a hole in the wall diner in Austin, Texas.
Yes.
That I unapologetically love
of course.
to death. So it is possible for those things to kind of soar to that level. And Gus's, it's not in the 9s for me.
Great.
It's not in the 8s, but it is still a great restaurant that comes highly recommended. And I actually think after our conversation, I went a little bit on the low side.
Okay.
So I think that what our average will end up being course corrects and probably puts it where it deserves to be. I went 7.54.
Whoa. Okay.
So when you put your score together with my score, Gus's world famous fried chicken goes up on the tchotchke of mediocrity at an 8.41.
Wow.
And that feels fair to me.
That feels fair. Oh, man. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
It's the 6th highest scoring restaurant in this entire journey.
I went pretty high.
But yeah, I mean, it comes highly recommended. I can see why it is a world champion at fried chicken.
Yep.
If you're going and just having chicken, you will leave here satisfied.
100%.
And if you don't, the problem's you,
I mean, there's a good chance that no matter where you go, the problem is you. Okay.
Fair. Yeah. If you're the type of person who runs into assholes all day, you're the asshole, you know?
Yes.
That is how the expression goes. But this does mean that Gus's world-famous fried chicken is definitively and officially better than Chili's.
Better than the Chili's, objectively good.
Poor Chili's.
Hey, look, I'm not saying Chili's is bad. I'm
No.
saying they're the line between good and bad.
Yes,
you know?
you're right. You're right.
You
You're
know?
right.
They're fine. I went there and it was just like anything worse than this would be not great.
Yes.
And anything better than this, I would say is good.
Yes.
It rode that line. It was like a sobriety test. It was wobbling all over the place, but it passed.
You can keep driving, buddy.
I get to go somewhere else next week and determine yet another chain that I want to put up against Chili's, to run against the Chili's test, to run the Chili's gauntlet. Even though this episode had very little to do with Chili's, it always has something to do with Chili's.
You better believe it does.
So I'm going to turn to the You Must Bowl, and I am going to draw, and it will tell me which restaurant I must go to next week.
Oh my gosh.
Next week on the Fine Dining Podcast, I will be going to
Nathan's Famous.
All right, that'll be where I go next week. Dave, for this week, thank you so much for joining me. It was such a delight spending the time with you, getting lunch, catching up, all that good stuff.
Yes. And I'm going to say right now, as someone who made me laugh in our improv class every week, you made me laugh once again this week.
One time, and I will cherish it. There
That's
was one joke that landed this entire 2 hours.
Otherwise, it was stone-faced Dave.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Tell people where they can find you on the internet, on social media.
Yes, you can catch me on Instagram at Dave Theune. If you just want to see random pics of random stuff. And you can also catch me on Tuesday nights on NBC with St. Denis Medical, and then randomly in other shows at other places at other times.
And if you're in LA, go see AskCat.
Yes.
Are you on every week? Is it like a set team?
I'm not on every week, so that's a little bit random, but you can catch me at AskCat on Saturday or Sunday nights. Check the schedule. Also, just check my Instagram because I'll usually promote it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can check me every second Friday of the month with my other house team, Bangarang, and we're paired with a very funny group named JV on Friday nights at 8:30.
Awesome. And you can follow the show on Instagram and TikTok and Blue Sky at Fine Dining Podcast. You can join the discussion in my Discord. I would love to have you. I will tell you what my controversial Star Wars opinion was if you question me in the Discord. So go join that if you want to know what take will immediately make you be like, I'm going to leave the Discord. And I have a Patreon where you can get an exclusive Fine Dining episode every single month on the last day of the month, as well as the full Yelp from Strangers segments and occasionally deleted scenes from the show because sometimes I cut things for time or because someone said something cancelable and I make you pay to see that content. You should have seen the rant Dave went on earlier.
Don't pay for it. Don't pay for it.
Well, another restaurant has gone through the Chili's gauntlet and another one will be put to the test next week. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a fine day.
Well, there's another one in the books. We judge the service up to the cooks, and while we may have gotten a couple of dirty looks, no, the journey can never stop. Now from the bottom down to the top, we got a new MO and everything's on lock. And that's 'cause Chili's to the letter to the T. It's the perfect cornerstone of mediocrity. So now we got a brand new kind of test. That's the words we gotta know, 'cause we sure ain't know it yet. Triple dipper got the ribs on main course, perfect little in the middle. It's good, now it's got to be the lock for what we use when we put things up on the charge scale. Mediocrity. So There's another one in the books, yeah, there's another one in the books, and we will see you next week, baby.
Have a fine day.